skirt. Zombie, what's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you. Just gonna get this shared real quick. David, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, my friend. Nice to see you got some optic, mega box of optic. Pretty sweet. Hobbyist, my brother, Chris Bolton. Good to see you, brother. J&W Cards. Chris, I appreciate that comment earlier on one of the other videos. That means a lot, man. It really does. Means a lot. I appreciate it. I think it was on my community post for today, for today's stream. So, Zombie, I'm probably going to have another auction very soon because that auction we did got cut a little short because I started not feeling too great. And then on top of it, you know, it was mostly selling our boy Anthony C's cards to help him out. And he's still got a lot of cards himself, and I have a bunch of stuff stacking up. So, soon. I don't know. Maybe we'll even do one this coming Sunday. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Sunday. Could even tomorrow night, but I don't really want to do one already tomorrow night. So maybe Sunday. Maybe Sunday or Tuesday. Maybe a mini one Sunday, maybe another one Tuesday, just because of all the stuff we have to get rid of. I don't want to make this a weekly thing and every couple days, twice a week thing either. I really don't. But I also want to get through all this stuff and get the stuff sold for Anthony and then start moving on my own stuff. So we'll see where it lands. We'll see where we're at. So there's one thing I wanted to touch on. So tonight I kind of want to open it up. I'm going to be getting stuff packaged from the auction and whatnot. It's all sorted. I basically just got to bag it and package it and label it. Because I don't want to have to do that this weekend. So, but I wanted to do I wanted to kind of open this up tonight, you know, depending on how many people we get in here. And I wanted you guys to have opportunities to ask any kind of questions that you might want to ask me. And the chat can be involved as well. So whether it's life related, my addiction related, sports related, hobby related, my views, opinions on things, what have you. I'm just going to kind of leave the floor open on that. But before we get there, you're good, JW. Before we get there, there's one thing that kind of came to mind. You know, I kind of look over Twitter throughout the day while I'm working. See a lot of people. I follow a lot of people. And I saw somebody had posted a card, and it was a 1-of-1 Upper Deck Exquisite NBA logo, man. It was Jordan. Who was it? Jordan LeBron, I think. 1-of-1. From like 2003, 2004. And there was something on there in the regards of it. It sold for like $900,000 or something. It broke some new record or something, like for highest cards sold to somebody. And am I offline? Are you guys there? Okay, it's showing offline. It's showing offline on my thing. That's really weird. Let me refresh this. In 1 second. Alright, now it shows them live. Alright. Alright, cool. Alright. Weird. It showed in my YouTube thing that I was offline, but yet my OBS was green, so I was a little confused. But, it started making me think of some things because there was some comments made And one person, and again, I'll never name names, and it's not a big deal what they commented. It's not a bad thing. They commented something in regards to, like, to that card being sold for $900,000. Well, my collection is really crap, or my collection's really junk, or I don't even remember what verbiage they used. There wasn't like an LOL after it or anything. It seemed like they were pretty dead serious as far as like kind of, well, I guess my collection ain't worth crap, and what the heck. Everybody, what's up, Austin? Everybody's collection has tons of value. Each and every one of your own collections have tons of value. And we talked about this a little bit in the other stream yesterday, maybe, or the day before. My days get all mixed up nowadays. But we talked about how value on cards is we're not raiding anybody. We don't come in here and go raid somebody. Okay, that'll get you blocked. That'll get you banned. I am live right now. We don't go raid somebody. I just started live. I'm not going to raid somebody. But yeah, we talked about the collect what you enjoy, but I want to touch on value a little bit more, because like people see cards, they see cards that sell for thousands of dollars, $900,000, what have you, and we sometimes get sidetracked in the thought process, or the thoughts of, maybe I just shouldn't. Maybe people even get stuck in the mindset of maybe I shouldn't really collect because I can't afford cards like that, or I can't buy cards like that, or I don't have cards in my collection like that. My collection is nothing like someone else's, right? Maybe a little jealousy comes in play, what have you. But you got to also remember that at the end of the day, cards, as a lot of people always say, they're just a piece of cardboard with a player's picture on it with some stats on the back. Some are shinier than others, what have you. It's just another materialistic thing, right? Maybe you don't have a logo man, Michael Jordan, LeBron, one-on-one that can sell for $900,000. But you have cards of your own in your PC, in your collection, that are worth more than you think they're worth. And they're worth more than you think they're worth because you can't put a price or a value on, cards, your favorite card, your favorite cards, any kind of cards that you have in your collection that you value, that you PC players. Don't get stuck and worried in the mindset of how much, or this guy has this card. Oh my God, I saw this guy have this card. It's okay to be jealous, right? We all get jealous at times. If you've never gotten jealous about something in your life, you're probably lying to yourself and lying to others. It's okay to be jealous, but don't let the jealousy change or ruin a good thing of, one, the hobby, and two, your own personal PC, and put you in the thought process or feeling like, my collection's not worth crap. Look at this. This guy sold this card for $900,000. I don't have anything close to value in that. I don't have a card worth over $100 in my collection. My collection must be crap. It's not crap. Your collection is your collection because you took the route, you collected who you collect to, you put together who you collect to because you wanted to. And yes, some of it is, some people may say, well, it's not necessarily what I wanted to do, it's what I could do, or what I can do. I can't afford to buy National Treasures and get into National Treasure breaks and optic breaks and etc., right? I can't afford to get into that stuff because I don't have the money. And maybe you would like to, right? But at the end of the day, it's kind of like the mindset that I used to always say before. We control what we can control, and we let go of what we can't. Make the best of what you have in your collection, in your PC. Make the best of the cards you can afford, you have available, And also look at it this way. People all put a budget on how much they spend in the hobby or towards cards. Some people have a budget, some people don't have a budget. Some people keep themselves to a certain amount so that they can keep a roof over their head, so they can afford to feed their children, so they can get their children the things they need to get, right? Don't let materialistic things, especially sports cards and values and what other people have over you, ruin a good thing for yourself. Okay? The most important thing, the biggest value out of anything that I could say out of this hobby is all of you guys, the community, the people, most of all, the friendships, right? That is what's most important. Cards are just something we get, they come and go, right? How many of us have cards in our PC? If we're my age, if we're in the 40s, how many of us out there have cards in our PC that we have had since we were teenagers? The same cards. I'm not saying cards you had when you were that age, you got rid of, and then you bought back in your collection a couple years ago because it was a cool card you liked, right? We've all had tons, thousands of cards go in and out of our collections. We don't hang on to things typically forever. I'm not saying that's true for everybody, because I'm sure there's people out there that could prove me wrong and say that, you know, I've had this card since I was 12 and I'm 40 years old, whatever. But I'm saying at the end of the day, the majority of the cards that we have now, we probably never had or were part of our collection then. Our PCs change. Maybe players get traded and we decide. I mean, a perfect example is me, right? D'Angelo Russell, which I was always a fan of, but I never really was going to PC him. Now he goes on my team. Now he's home team. Malik Beasley, who's probably one of my favorites now on the Wolves, who I said was going to be the X factor of our team if we're going to have success. He is not my PC, but he wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have even been thinking about Malik Beasley 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago before all the trade. I didn't even know that he'd be landing in Minnesota. I don't think anybody did, except for the guys that were trying to put the trade together the time of the trade. So things change. And go look at what Malik Beasley's cards are worth, or what they sell for, I guess. I shouldn't say worth. Using the word what a card is worth in the hobby, I think, is one of the most, and I'm using it myself, which is bad. I think it's one of the most tacky words in the hobby. Because at the end of the day, my point I'm trying to get across is there really is no exact value or worth on cards unless you say that, hey, if I have a card I'm going to sell and I think I should get $100 for this and I sell it for $100, well then maybe you can say that card to you is worth $100. But yet again, somebody else may be a bigger fan of that person you just sold that rookie auto card for $100 to, and to them it may be worth a lot more money. A lot more money. So look at it that way, you guys. Our PCs are constantly changing. Our players in our list are constantly changing. Value, I'm saying this now, in my opinion, value is a tacky word in the hobby. And I'm sure maybe people will probably roast me or say, what the hell is Defness talking about? Fucking saying there's no value. I'm not saying there's no value in the hobby. I'm saying using the word or using value that this card is worth X amount of money is tacky. Because it is not worth the same amount of money for me, for RSR, for Cowboy cards. If Cowboy cards is in here, I bet you this thing is worth a lot more to him than it would be me, because he's a Cowboys fan, and he's probably if he's a Cowboys fan, he's probably a huge Zeke Elliott fan, and why wouldn't he be? Unless he has something against him that he found out that he did or something, and he's a Cowboys fan, but he really doesn't like a Zeke. He's probably a super Zeke fan, right? So again, to me, value in the hobby, the word value to me is a bit tacky. Say I'm wrong, say I'm whatever, but that's my opinion. I spent $30 on an Adele SP variation. Yeah, hell yeah, that's worth it. I've definitely overpaid for some of my Darbos. That's the thing, though, Miller. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You're a Seahawks fan. That's a guy that's part of a team you root for. The value on his cards is not the same value as what you're going to look it up in a Beckett price guide. Whatever Beckett this month decides to tell us it's worth. Right? And of course, players that play in bigger markets with bigger teams that do something and play well are going to, in a Beckett or a price guide, probably show more value if they're popular enough, with the little arrows going up. This guy's value is going up because of whatever, so-and-so. I use this example. I'm in Minnesota. I'm not in a big market state, right? So, look at Twins players in general, right? Look at Twins players in general. Look at the team over the years. And they've had some great baseball players. We've won World Series. We've won championships. We've had great teams. But how many Twins players' cards, if you were to look them up in a Beckett price guide, are really going to have much value, if you want to say that? What's up, KCR or KC9Q? Good to see you. How many of us, or how many are going to find anything that's going to have much value in that guide? But you know what? To me, I'm in Minnesota. The Minnesota Twins are my team. They're worth a whole hell of a lot more to me than whatever that Beckett guide is going to tell me. Eddie Rosario, Max Kepler, Mitch Garver, probably one of the top tier catchers in the MLB. But because he's not on a big market team, his popularity is not what it's going to be if he was playing for a Yankees team or a Red Sox team. And that's not to bash them. That's just the way it is. They're big market teams. They're more popular. Austin says Royce Lewis may be a hot prospect. Yeah, and again, Royce Lewis's value in a Beckett price guide probably isn't really up there, right? But he's a top-end prospect. I can't really watch Mariners. Yeah, Mariners prospects are. David, there you go. What's up, Patreon Pirate? Card Closet, good to see you guys. Magnus, good example is, yes, Harmon Killebrew, perfect example. Twins Hall of Famer, but his cards have very little value. This is what I'm talking about, guys. So, value to me in the hobby, as far as card value or what it's worth, to me is a tacky word. Because we could put a card up and I could ask all 15 or however many people are in here right now, we could put a card up and I could ask you what you would pay for it. If this was somebody a card you were looking for, how much would you pay for it? I bet you we would have 15 different answers. I bet you there would not be one answer the same. And again, that's where I kind of wonder where Beckett gets their pricing. I know it's a group of apparently experts and whatever, and they do their analysis and whatever they cover and cross and look over. But where do the values come from? Here's the big thing I'm going to say. Do the values, at the end of the day, really matter? take for an example, now let's look at product that's not even a card, right? Product that's unopened. So let's look at retail. Let's look at optic basketball, which is the hot commodity right now. You have to pay $400 to $500 to get a hobby box of optic basketball, right? You can, if you hit the nuts at your Target or Walmart, you can get blasters for $20 of optic basketball. You can get cello values. What are they? $15 or $20 max. You get the mega boxes for what? $50. But if you find those blasters, those cello packs, those mega boxes, whatever, if you find them outside of the Targets, the Walmarts, what have you, the retail locations that get them in direct, that resell, I guess you would say, you're going to pay 40, 50, 80 bucks a blaster, 100, 150 a mega box. Again, no real, where's the values? Like where's the value go in this? Zoe! Lay down. Let me catch up with, I spent hundreds on certain Griffey cards that I know won't increase in value. I just like how the cards look, and it's my favorite player. So, yeah, exactly, Magnus, exactly. Lamar Jackson is the back. That Lamar Jackson in the back, I pay 50 max. Yeah, so see, David Miller, if you go on eBay right now, this card that I'm giving away when we hit 1,700 subs, this number to 50, like this card, if you look at comps, is anywhere from 400 to 500 bucks. David Miller says he wouldn't pay any more than 50 bucks for it. And there's probably a lot of people that wouldn't, that David's not crazy. There's probably a lot of people that wouldn't pay $50 for that card because they're not fans of Lamar Jackson. They might respect his game. They might admire what he can do. But at the end of the day, they could care less. David could care less if that card is in his collection or not. He doesn't care. I would pay $200 for a chart rookie if I had the money. Hello, yeah, you know. Panini listed optic hobby at 100, and now that, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I was just at a Walmart and Target and did not have. Yeah, you got to just keep grinding. I know Tom T came through with a big haul on some optic retail. I saw his little video. I spent $60 on a 2020 yesterday and paid for the SP Lux I pulled. There's Doom SPs that are going for a lot. Yeah, SPs, and it's not really as much the SPs, it's the SSPs. So like Bo Bichette, there's a lot of guys out there, Griffey, there's a lot of guys that have a short print, and then they have a super short print. The super short print's probably like 10 of them. I don't think they number them, but it's like probably 10, 5, 20, 50 of them max. So, oh, dang it, Zion Blue Velocity. Go, Tom. Appreciate you, brother, man. You are the man. You pulling heat. Jeff Airtime in the house. If you guys are not hanging out with Airtime on Sunday mornings, doing his trivia and winning cards, you guys are doing it wrong. Make sure you check out our guy Airtime if you guys are already not subscribed to him. Because I know there's a few newer people in here that I haven't seen much. So most of you guys know who he is. As well as you guys all check each other out. Alright? Make sure as you go through, again, something I always recommend. When you're in streams with people, community that you like, something you're into, whatever, make sure you are checking through that you are subscribed and supporting and following each other. Make sure you get everybody and check their stuff out. Do it the right way. What's up, Hobbyist? Smash, what's going on, brother? Shack Rat's in the house. I saw you earlier. No worries, man. The Hobbyist, I just love ripping backs. I smile every minute of it. Yeah, and that's kind of what we talked about, I believe, yesterday, right? How people get so upset when they don't hit. Like, not everybody. Some people get so upset when they don't hit something. Like, when they spend $100, they get 4 blasters, 5 blasters of retail. They don't hit anything. Well, you're paying for the experience. You're paying for the entertainment factor of it. You're also playing for the chase, right? Or paying for the chase. The what if I hit this? The what if I pull a Zion Blue Velocity card? The what if I get a Zion Auto Hollow Optic card out of this $20 blaster? There's a lot of what ifs in there. But don't be so disappointed if it doesn't work out for you, because it's just like going and playing the lottery. You don't win all the time, right? It's a gamble. It's like the stock market. So, why doesn't Top... What's up, Super? He's kind of lurking. Why doesn't Topps care about beating pack searchers? Why do they make fat packs with see-through wrapping? Why aren't the hanger plastics wrapped to stop people at peeking? Why no decoys in the packs? I hate it. I agree, Super. And here's what I wonder. And you have really great points there, and a lot of us are frustrated about that. But here's what I wonder. I wonder how much Topps or Panini or any of these companies truly know about this pack searching. I mean, they get damages, right? Like Walmart, Target, they turn to their damages. Whether they even see that stuff back or they even know how it was damaged or what it looked like. I wonder how much of them actually have the awareness of what's going on. The pack searching, Or are they just getting written off as like stolen cards, missing cards? I mean, do they actually receive this stuff back, like the way it's looked through damaged? It's hard to say. At least Panini wraps hanger. Yeah, that's right. The hanger's in plastic. Yes, that is true. Panini they do put that plastic over, so you have to break the plastic. So in any Panini product on those boxes, you're going to know if it's been messed with, even if it doesn't look like it has been, because that plastic's going to be ripped, tore, or missing. But that's a good question, Super. I wonder if they're really that aware of it. Or if, like, your Targets, your Walmarts and stuff are more or less marking it off as just as a loss or, like, stolen, damaged goods. But there's a million different reasons why it could be damaged, right? It's just like anything, any product in a store. Oh, couple glass cups, gonna write them off, they shattered, they broke, right? Cards fell, kid had them, he was eating on them or biting on them, tore open, right? So it's hard to know, it's hard to gauge, really. Yeah, they are bottom feeders. Airtime, exactly right. Pack searchers. Going to my Unis game Sunday. Nice, going to a game, Austin. So I have chased off, ripped into many. Yeah, I know, Tom. Tom's one of the legends out there when it comes to confronting the pack searchers. And I just, you know what? It seems like anytime I go into a Walmart or a Target or anything, there is literally nobody else standing there. Nobody else. It seems like whenever I go into Walmart, I go into Target, I roll in wherever, there's no one else standing around by the cards. So, I know there's a lot of collectors around the area. I know there's a lot of people, but I just must go at a time when nobody else is around. So, I don't get that opportunity to confront pack searchers and tear into them and tear them a new one. I wish I would. I wish I did. So... let's see, what else? Trying to catch up on the chat. But again, guys, just going back, like, I go way off too often. That's good, though. They gotta hear it. They gotta know people are actually keeping their eye on them. They gotta know people are watching them. I mean, you don't ever change something if nothing's ever brought up, right? You gotta speak up about stuff. If we don't ever bring it up, if we don't ever talk about it, what's going to change? Good for you, Tom. Yeah, I'm also solo as well, but if I see someone I trust... Yeah, exactly. I've never seen a searcher, but all the fat packs are thumbed through. Balls says he's watching you. Is he watching me? Or is he watching you? Me? Or you? Me? You. All right, but yeah, guys, I just wanted to kind of tie that in before we actually. I mean, we're already 30 minutes in the stream, and I mean, we can go for a while. I started early today. It just really depends on where you guys want to take this. I pretty much opened this up as a. This stream was supposed to be more of a Q&A, I guess. If you guys had any questions for me, anything, and it can be in regards to. It can be in regards to the hobby, to life, to my addiction, really anything, guys. And then if you guys want to give feedback as well, you can. I'm all about it. I'm going to work on this while I read through chat. We'll stay on for a little while, and we'll see where it goes, and then just go from there. Defness. Advice, what will you do with your 20,000 base cards? That's a good question, Joe. So, I ultimately, originally, was supposed to be sending all my base cards to Cadority Kids. I think you guys have heard me talk about them. Oh, Tom, your mail day will have, I'll just show them on here. Your mail day will have these as well. Some of your boy that you like. A couple of those. I'll throw those in with your mail day. But Cadority cards, Cadority Kids cards, they stopped doing it because it was taking just way. They had a great thing going. They just took too much time and the cost of doing it. Basically, what you could do is you could sign up your kid for, I don't know what it was, $4 or $5. It was basically to cover the shipping and supplies. And they would get your son or daughter's favorite players, teams, what have you. And they would send them, mail days. Sometimes they would get like a little mini hit, but it'd be more or less like team stuff. So I'd send a lot of my base, a lot of my, like sub-star stuff. You had some stuff in there too that's maybe not necessarily a big old hit, but players that are semi-stars, maybe have a little worth a couple bucks, I guess. Again, if we want to go back to the word value, which I don't like, but I would send them to Cadority Kids. Cadority Kids. I used to give away a box of 100 cards in exchange for a sub. Oh, that's awesome, Joe. Did you do that with when you were trying to help me get to 1,000 back when? Yeah, so there's a lot of things out there. Card Hobbyist says commons for kids. Take some. What's up, Joe? Good to see you, brother. Who else snuck in here? I missed. How much do I owe you? I can send PO right now. Okay, cool. Yeah, let me look. I'm just getting stuff kind of starting to work together on. Let me look real quick. But yeah, commons for kids. So like with all my commons nowadays, I tell BITG if it's not like a rookie or a hit, just to keep all of them, and he does whatever with them. He does the no collector left behind, I think is what it is. So 12, 16. Yeah, 35, brother. 35. You got it. $35. So oh, you're too kind. Well, what do you need for it, brother? I told you I'd buy it from you if you wanted to sell anything. What's up, brother? What's up, Casey Nation? Good to see you, man. Good to see you popping in here. All right. I used to get. Anyone else got any questions? Questions? It can be anything, guys. Don't be afraid to ask me. Well, shoot. I'm going to have to go get some more bubble mailers, looks like. Oh, nice. Tell Cash to say, what up? What up, what up, what up? Are you on eBay seller? Oh, okay, that's a good question, Jeff. That's a really good question. So, I am on eBay. I had an eBay. So, you know how we've all gone through our times of collecting, not collecting. So I was collecting obviously when I was a teenager up through like my early 20s. Fell in love, had kids, started a family, and I got back into collecting again. What was I, 20? My late 20s? And when I did that, I had an eBay that was like me and my ex-wife's eBay basically, because she would sell. Not only would I sell cards, but she would sell like clothes lots for turn around and sell clothes for the kids, like lots of Nike boys, you know, 4T stuff and whatever what the women like to do. So we had that, and then obviously got rid of that eBay. Well, actually, I used that eBay to then start. I was selling. I was on the side. I was doing when I was married. I was a promotional products distributor. So like pens and stuff, people would put their logo on it. Like info or like on the pen. Like here, you see somebody's got their company info stuff. I was a promotional product distributor. I basically had my own little business, and I would buy. I had distributors I would get the stuff through at a low cost, and then I would sell it reasonable. I'd try to be like the cheapest one out on eBay. But I utilized that for like 2 or 3 years on eBay. And then after I went through my divorce and everything, all that stuff went to the side. I stopped doing eBay, stopped doing everything. But yes, I do have, and like I said, I haven't even sold but like 3 cards or 4 cards on there. Let me see here. I mean, I buy a lot of stuff, but here, let me flip this 1 second. I'll show you guys. This is on the wrong side. So it's because I changed my name. I think I used to have it as like Defness. It's the same account, but I changed my name and I called it Who Knew Treasures. And last summer, I don't know if you guys remember or not, but I was gonna get into the whole reselling hustle on the side, like going to garage sales. I'd go garage sale hunting, like with sometimes my daughters would like to go with or whatever. We go on hunts trying to find some gems, and I was gonna resell it on eBay, and so that's why I kind of called it Who Knew Treasures, because I figured baseball cards could fall under that as well, football, whatever. But literally, I don't even know where you can see what you've sold, but I don't have anything for sale right now, I don't believe. But yeah, I've only sold a couple like Bowman Chrome. Like last year's a Bowman Chrome baseball card I sold. I think I sold a Luca a year or two ago. I think it was a cracked ice auto from his rookie year. Those pink packs. But yeah, that's a good question. That's what my eBay is. But honestly, guys, I typically, when you're doing so many auctions on YouTube and you're selling or posting stuff on Twitter as well, it's very hard. To me, it doesn't make a lot of sense to post stuff on eBay. I mean, if you're having a hard time moving certain cards or whatever, I can see it, because you can find a much broader spectrum of people to sell cards to. And here's a little note for you guys that are trying to move stuff. If you're not having as much luck on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, definitely try using eBay. The only downside with eBay is if you haven't sold much of anything, when you sell things, your funds are probably going to be held until after
the customer receives what you sold them, and they give you feedback. So it can be a little bit of a kicker. So if you're like, man, I'm in a crunch, I need some cash, I need some money, I need some PayPal, and you haven't sold much anything on there yet, if you've sold stuff for a long time, you're good. You'll be clear right away. You get your money right when they pay you. But if you haven't, even if you've used PayPal forever with other things, eBay still does some kind of thing to secure and make sure that you're going to send what you sold them. So keep that up. You need eBay for hire. Yeah, exactly. That's a great point, Jeff. Airtime has a great point, man. He says, this is what you would use to sell cards that are a lot higher value. Because chances of you selling a Michael Jordan patch auto card off Twitter or Facebook or whatever, or even in an auction, is going to be really hard unless you advertise it way in advance, you talk a ton about it, and you get people in that you probably even haven't had in before looking for that specific card, and you start a bid at a minimum whatever, and then they actually go to a bid war. But eBay would be the best route for that. So Airtime is absolutely 100%, I agree with him. Higher end cards, eBay is the way to go. But again, remember, if you list something on there and you have not sold anything or haven't sold much of anything, you may have your money held until they receive it. And I don't know if they have to give you feedback first or if it just shows that they've received it and everything is good. What's up, BITG? Good to see you, my brother. BITG will be live tonight. I'm not sure what he's got going on. Hopefully he's got something good for us tonight. Maybe some optic? Maybe? I don't know. I haven't looked. I haven't seen yet. The mic is so much better when I'm in this view, like this. I'll have to keep an eye on that. It must be something with the mic. So, yeah, see Austin. So Austin right there says, my funds are on hold. And that sucks, especially if you're in the need of money. Now, if you're not hurting for money and you're just selling this extra stuff for whatever to get rid of it, like we talked about, you should be moving stuff that you don't PC or don't need or don't like to recoup money back into your account to ultimately help you go buy optic when it shows up at Target or Walmart and a whole crapload of it and not feel like it hit your account as hard. We need to be selling stuff. We need to be turning things, As much as it is a hobby, and I kind of said this yesterday, for most of us it's a hobby, it's not a business. But I kind of retract that and say that we almost have to do it on a business side too, but you can be a good honest, reasonable businessman. And what I mean by that is like what I talked about. When you go and you post cards, I talked about this yesterday, I believe. When you go and you post cards on Twitter or Facebook or whatever and you put a price on them, price them to move, price them fair, price them reasonable. So I guess you could say business, not business. It's kind of a catch-22 because usually in a business, you're ultimately you're selling or you're doing a job or doing something or a purpose to make profit. And like we said yesterday, it's very hard as just a hobbyist card collector to make a lot of profit. You have to get lucky over and over and over and over and over again in breaks, in boxes, and packs you buy, and hit the nuts all the time to consider yourself profitable. Unless you're finding somebody to buy all your cards for way more than what they're worth. That's a possibility. I don't know. It sucks we're having on full as well in college. I bet, man. I bet. You know what? I got myself in a bind one time too. Back when I was doing eBay before, and I just started again. I was like, oh, sweet. And I don't even think I was using Twitter or any of that stuff. It was years ago. And like, just had my 2 little kids, and we were in need of money pretty bad. And I'm like, oh, I got this card. I'm going to sell it. And that's exactly what happened to me. And it's nothing worse than when you feel like you have a solution that you figured out, and now it's hit you back in the face, and you can't see that money for a week, and you needed that money like yesterday. That sucks. Leaf in the game used. BITG, what do you got going on tonight? People have stuff priced to keep it at antique malls and stuff. Yeah, Chris, you're 100% right. You can find good deals though, man. You really have to search. I'm thinking about one of these Saturdays. I'm thinking about going back to that big antique store that I went to, that was in Burnsville. Remember they had that box of all those vintage cards, and they were $1 a piece. And I was trying to buy the whole box. I asked him what he would take for the whole box, and the guy that worked at the place had to call the owner of the cage. And I offered him like a couple $100 or something. There was probably I don't know, 1,000 cards, and there was a lot of decent stuff in there. We pulled some like 68 stuff with like league leaders, Hank Aaron, and I forget who else was on there. But you guys remember that? I'm thinking about going back there soon and checking it out again. We'll do a stream there. I gotta hit up some antique stores. I get paid once a month by my job because I'm freelance. Ooh, yeah, that's even tougher, man. Getting paid once a month is really tough. So, Austin, you should definitely be trying to be taking advantage of when you are getting cards or cards that are in your collection that you do not collect or PC, trying to sell them. And again, guys, this is the most important part, I feel. You know, I see a lot of times, I see people always complaining on Twitter and wherever, I can't sell cards on Twitter. I can't seem to ever move anything. And my first thing I always think about is, are you pricing these cards correctly? Are they priced to move? Or are you overpricing them? And people are like interested, but they're like, you know what? I'm not going to pay that price. In fact, maybe I'll just go to eBay and I can buy it for $3 or $5 cheaper. So just price the stuff to move. It costs you more money. It's the thing I talked about yesterday. It costs you more money. Look at it like a warehouse. I used this analogy yesterday. Look at it like a warehouse. You have your scaffolding or your shelves or whatever. You have your pallet spaces. You want to get that product. If that product is sitting there on that shelf doing nothing for you, it's costing you money sitting there. One, you have product that's worth something. Two, it's taking up space. You can get some other stuff in here that's going to move quicker. Right? In and out. Getting stuff in and out. Look at that. Use that mentality with your cards. Stuff that I don't collect, I don't need, whatever. Guys, I told you guys a story the other day when I brought this stuff up, but I'll never forget when I was in the toughest situation, one of the toughest situations of my life, where I wasn't going to have a roof over my head, when I was living in the hotel, and I was like, I had been getting into breaks all the time, and I could get by week by week. Everything was good. I had money, had my job, a good job, whatever. But I got to a point where I wasn't going to have a roof over the head. And I remember, I looking at all my boxes of cards sitting there, where 90 or 85% of them are not anything that I collect or PC. And I was like, why in the hell am I not doing an auction? Why have I not tried selling these cards? And I think when I sold them, and this is nothing I care about, right? Nothing I care about. They're just cards that I were getting in breaks, random team breaks, etc. You get into a lot of random case breaks, whatever. And I think I made $700 or $800. It was call it a life changer, if you will. Possibly a life changer. But sometimes we forget about some of the stuff that we have that's more or less not really worth anything to us, but it's worth something to somebody else, and they can help us get out of a sticky situation or a bad situation. Reese McGuire, buy or sell. Reese McGuire. I'm not big on Reese McGuire myself, Joe. I don't know about Reese McGuire. My heart profits from my cards. Beyond that, I don't care. There you go, Beantown 62. It's all good, brother. When I'm a scout, I'll be making a good salary. Everyone goes through rough times. Exactly. What's up, Tiger Eagles? Oh, I appreciate it, man. It's just filed up a new display case. That's awesome. One person's trash. That's exactly right, Joe. One person's trash is another person's treasure. Exactly. Look up news on Reese McGuire. Should I put it on screen here? Gotta liquidate those. Exactly, man. Exactly. Let's look up Reese McGuire here. I don't know if I'm spelling it right. Masturbated in car before arrest. Wow, this guy's awesome. Arrested for indecent exposure. I didn't even hear about this. Oh my god. Was arrested Friday last week, accused of exposing himself in a shopping center parking lot. Sitting inside of an SUV and only exposed to the sheriff's office. Wow. That's crazy. I guess they're not. Alright. That's nuts, guys. That's crazy. Yeah, he's gonna be real popular in jail. What did Tom say? Oh, who was pulling some fire? Yeah, I totally missed it until now. Now that church right there, 100%. What are you talking about? The church? I'm lost. Maybe he just had to take a pee. It happened. Yeah. Right? It's possible. What's up, Wicked? Good to see you, brother. We were just checking out the Reese McGuire news. He was arrested for masturbating in a parking lot. Yikes.
Yikes, yikes, yikes. Reese Tuggy McGuire is his new name. You guys got any other questions for me? Anything? Bueller? I was looking at porn on his phone when cops caught it. Ooh, what's up, T-Dog? Yes, a Dollar Tree or all places. What's up? Wicked, how you been, brother? What do you got going on these days? Anything cool brewing? Do you think that relapse is part of Yes, Chris. That is an awesome question, man. That is, you know what? That is an awesome question because I personally have relapsed. Like when I first started, I'll tell you guys the story. That'll lead this into a nice little story. So probably I want to say 6 months. 6 months or so from when I was when I had gotten clean. I had it in my mind that I was ready and I didn't need to go to treatment anymore. I honestly thought to myself that I was good. 6 months was long enough. Your boy Defness is ready. Your boy Defness is ready. You know, I'm ready to take on the world again without any help, without any professional help. And I found myself literally, I think it was 3 or 4 days after the fact, back using again. And the treatment place had called to check up on me because they knew I hadn't been there. They asked, what was going on, if I was okay, what was up. And I just told, I said I was ready. I felt I was ready and whatever. And they just said, well, they were very helpful and whatever. And they said, if you need anything or get whatever, just let us know. And I said, okay. And I got real bad for about 2 weeks. 2 weeks, real bad. And it got bad that it about took me back down to rock bottom. It made me realize that I wasn't anywhere near ready, and that 6 months' time is not much time at all with getting professional help. So I ended up calling back my treatment facility, and they, hey, what's going on? And they said, well, I've relapsed, and I need to get back. I need to get help again. And they said, no worries. It was like in the evening, like I don't remember what time it was, but they're like, just come in early tomorrow morning, and we'll get you, we'll get you help, get you back in. So I went back in at like 5 a.m. that next morning, early as heck, and got myself back on track. And ever since then, I've been clear. So, but I 100% feel that relapse is ultimately part of the road to recovery. Because I think it takes you to realize that when you think you're ready, you're probably not ready to do it on your own without help. But it's like I always say that everything in life happens for a reason, right? Like I talked about it with the whole Kobe, the 9. I don't want to just say Kobe because there was 9 lives that were lost, including his daughter and another kid. Each one of those people is just as important as anyone else, right? But I feel like everything happens. So we have 9 lives that were lost, which should have never happened, but it did. And now, and all of them, none of them were probably over 50 years old or so. 50, 52, maybe the pilot was 50 some years old. Still very young, right? And it makes all of us, even if it's for a day, for 2 days, for a week, for 2 weeks, maybe for the rest of your life, it makes you realize how it makes you, I'm going to use the word, it makes you value life. And I know that's what I'm saying, like with the whole relapse thing, when you're going through recovery, like hitting bottom, when you were somewhere where you felt like you were ready, you've gone through it already, and you felt like you were ready. Yeah, you felt like you were ready. Hang on, let me get sidetracked here. We're getting a couple trolls in. Just let them roll. Just get them out of here. You feel like you're ready. Yeah, just get rid of them. When you feel like you're ready, you're ultimately not. Right? You feel like you're ready, you're ultimately not ready. But you have to experience. There has to be something that comes in your life. It's kind of like the initial stage or the first step of deciding, hey, I'm going to go out and get help, right? You have to hit somewhere, almost a rock bottom, to get you to realize how important it is for you to get help. how important it is for you to do something different, to change the direction in your life. Is Joe the only one in here? Where are all my mods at? Is Shackrat's in here? Chris is in here. Did Chris leave? We got a couple mods in here. What's up, sports kids? Alright. Good deal. Yeah, we got plenty of people in here. I appreciate it. There's only a couple people. Again, guys, what we do with that is we just continue forward, right? The mods do what they need to do, and we continue forward. We talked about this yesterday. We talked about, or the day before, not letting anything negative come inside or ruin anything. We just keep everything going the way we go. So, alright. Strong man, it takes letters. Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. That's the hardest part, man. The hardest part, honestly, is asking for help. The hardest part is basically realizing that you really honestly do have a problem. You really honestly do need help. That is the hardest part. When because I've been there. I know what it feels like. I know what you're going through. People that are going through this or are deciding on if they're going to get help, I know exactly what their minds, somewhat of what their mind's thinking and what it's going through, because I've been there. You feel like a failure. You feel like you just screwed up your whole life. You feel like, my parents, what are my parents? What are my family members? What's everybody going to really look at? What are they going to think about me? Are they going to forever look at me when they see me and have that thought inside? Drug addict, addicted, guy ruined his life. He's addicted to pills, whatever. You have all those thoughts. And that's the hardest part, is opening up and, I guess, leaving yourself vulnerable to just say, hey, it is what it is. I need help. I need to get better. I can't do this myself. I need people to help me. And then you realize, after you get past that and you decide that that's a step you're going to take, you then realize how much more support you actually have. How the people you felt maybe weren't going to be supportive of you or were going to look at you differently actually show you more affection, show you more emotion, show you how much they care about you. And then once you get yourself clean, or you get cleaner as you go through the process, you see yourself showing emotion again and giving other people that you care about the right attention, sharing emotion and whatnot. The stuff you thought you were doing when you were in a tunnel, not doing anything, numbed up, not feeling anything, emotionless, not really caring. It's a complete switch. And again, I always look at my situation as, when I was on it, I always had the mentality that if I wasn't on this, I wouldn't be right. How am I going to get through each day? I'm going to feel like crap. How is this going to ever be possible? How can I change to be back to a normal me? And then you start thinking, like, how was it before I ever took this drug or these drugs? And how did I get by? And how was I always normal at that point? How could that be possible? How can I get back there? But then once you start taking the steps and you start getting through it, and you start getting yourself back on track, you come to find out that you can get through each day. You can get through what you need to. You can feel normal again. It is possible. I don't know a single drug addict that is happy they don't believe they're worth. That's just it, Chris. I'll touch on all you guys' comments as we go through here. I'm going to touch on one by one as I'm reading this stuff. Everyone has some kind of issues. Yeah, exactly. And nobody is perfect. And that's exactly right, KC9. You're 100% correct. And some people have a hard time accepting the fact that they have whatever they have wrong with them. And some people either deny it because it may be more serious than it really is, or they just deny it because they don't want to deal with it. They don't want to face it, right? So Chris says, I don't know a single drug addict that is happy. They don't believe they're worth, and that's true, being loved. You honestly, and it's crazy, because you know what's even crazier, Chris, is that all these people you're referring to, such as like myself, in their mind, when they're numb and they have no feelings, they actually honestly think they feel well. They think they feel loved. But you're right, they don't. They won't express it if they say anything, if they, oh, nobody cares about me, whatever, right? It's a poor me type thing. Me in the corner, poor me. Poor me. I've had a rough life. My dad walked out on me on Christmas Eve when I was 4 years old. You know, I can make all the excuses and everything I've had gone through my life and just pity patty poor me. And that's how it gets. That's how people get. Because once you get high, you take something, whatever, there's no pain, there's no emotion. But it's a bad way of living. It's worse. You actually, as a human being, you need to feel pain. You need to feel emotion. You need to go through struggles in life without taking a drug to take all that away for the time being, as a temporary thing, as a band-aid, if you will. You need to actually experience those things, because as a human being, that's how we grow. That's how we become better people in life. That's how we can be better parents to our kids. The struggles, the things we go through that we can learn, that we can pass on, give advice to, show right and wrong, right? Good way of living, bad way of living. How to not get yourself in a financial situation because of doing this or that. How to save money when you're younger, regardless, and keep pushing it on them, and be good with their money and balance their money and get themselves on a budget so they're not living paycheck by paycheck. All these things we need to feel, we need to go through, but sometimes addicts or people like myself, they want an escape route, right? They want a way to avoid all that, because at the end of the day, they don't want to face it head on, and they don't want to, because again, there's a lot of emotion involved in it. There's a lot of feeling. There's a lot of letdown. There's a lot of, betrayal. I'm a piece of shit. Whatever it might be. So that's a good, crispy. Thank you for that comment, because that helped me direct kind of what I wanted, something to touch on. I appreciate that. Damn, I wish my friend group had people like you. I'm losing half of them because of their stupidity. Yeah, I mean, and that's just it, guys. The biggest part of all of this, honestly, guys, is support. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I'll say this probably, if you stick around my channel, you'll probably hear me say this a couple times a week, maybe even. I do this right here. I'm a part of the hobby, and I do this streaming because it's therapeutic for me. It helps me deal with things. It helps me go through it, because you guys are a support system for me. Whether you know it or not, each and every one of you that show up, that interact, whether it's high or whatever, you guys all help me get through. You guys all help me wean out my day. Let me talk about what's on my mind. and ultimately listen to me, and then give your honest feedback. Sometimes constructive criticism, whatever it is, that's good. Because of you guys, it's all about support. It's a support system. You have to have a good support system. You have to have a good structure. If you build something and you want it to hold up and withstand a storm, the foundation has to be solid. And the foundation is each and every one of you guys. You guys, as well as each and every one of us, would be the foundation for each one of you. You have to have solid foundation. You have to have a good supporting cast, and that'll the same thing goes true if you were to look at my group of so-called friends 4 or 5 years ago, which were more acquaintances, versus a group of successful people that are family people that are probably in a marriage or in a good relationship, that also have kids, that whatever. If you look at who their group is and who they hang around with versus them, and I'm not being stereotypical or judgmental, but if you just watch how they interact, what they do between the groups, you'll see why one is this way and one's that way, right? Because this group that used to hang out with old Defness, with old JD back 4 or 5 years ago, we would all be hanging out at the bar every day. And I'm not saying hanging out at a bar is a bad thing. I'm saying hanging out at a bar every single day. Staying until close about every single day or whenever, and going home, going home at close every day. And again, I'm not saying staying at close one night, a Friday night, a weekend, or Friday and Saturday with your friends. I'm saying throughout the whole week. Then you got this group over here who goes to work during the day. They probably just go home, or they go to the gym, or they go to dinner with their friends or family, and they go home at a decent time, or they go hang out and they go bowling and they do whatever, and then they go home. It's all about a solid foundation. It's all about having a solid group of people around you. You need it. That's how you get by. That's how you get through. Sending out the Lux today or on Saturday. Is it possible to get clean? Chris, I'm going to be honest with you, brother. I have talked to myself many times before I went in to get help and told myself that this is it. I'm going to go cold turkey. I'm going to wean off myself. I'm going to do it myself. And you know what ends up happening? Because our minds are so addictive, once that bottle gets to the bottom, here's the best one I used to always tell myself. I got a new full bottle of 125 or 10 milligram oxys. Once these are gone, I'm gonna be gradual with them. I'm gonna slowly take less as I wean down the bottle. Once I get done with the bottle, I'm done. Right? I'm gonna try to do it so that I get down to like a half of one. Like my last one I ever take will be a half of a 5 or a 10 or whatever, right? I got my mind's telling, I'm saying this, my mind's building this up. And what ends up happening, once you finish that, maybe you try for a day, 6 hours, 2 hours, whatever, but you're right back to square one. And you know what you keep telling yourself? After this one, I'm going to get myself clean. I'm going to get myself better. After this one, you can't do it on your own. And I ultimately, at the end of the day, would never recommend somebody even try to do it, because it's ultimately very, very dangerous, especially depending upon what you're taking and how much you're taking. Like, you could ultimately die. I mean, you could die from anything. You can die from an overdose too, but like, your body is so immune to taking whatever it's taking. It's better to have like doctors or professional people around you in case something doesn't go right. But I 100% do not believe anybody can successfully quit on their own without help, professional help. Maple syrup. Joe's name takes up half my screen. I have a family member that deals with addiction, and it's very hard for all parties involved. It's an emotional mess that takes a lot of healing. Yeah, it really honestly does. It's hard. And guys, I told you guys that one of the first things I did, one of the hardest things I ever did in my life, was when I decided I was going to go and get clean. I had a meeting. My kids were with their mom during the week. I went and I called my ex-wife and I said, I want to have a meeting with you and the kids. I have something I want to tell you guys. And so I went to the house. My sister, my older sister, actually came with me. She knew already. She came with me to be my support. But I sat down and I told my kids that Dad, I'm going to be upfront and honest with you guys, that Dad has a drug addiction problem. And I was honest with what I did. I said, Dad doesn't stick needles in my arm. I don't do anything like heroin or meth. I do prescription drugs, which isn't any better, but, I take them when I technically am not prescribed them, or I'm not, authorized to take them. And, it was that night, that was but I also think, one of the toughest nights, but I also think that was a big changing moment in our relationship as we grew a lot closer. All me and my 4 kids, all 5 of us. There was a lot of tears shed between everybody, but I think at the end of the day that they respected me more for ultimately being honest with them and telling them, and they also got the feeling like, okay, cool, like he's gonna go get help, he's gonna get better, and we're gonna get a better dad. Our dad's gonna be better because he's and yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think I was ever a bad dad. In fact, like I said before, a lot of people didn't even know that I was addicted because I would go to work every day. I didn't miss work. I didn't whatever. My sister had some assumptions of maybe something. Like she started asking around, but she wasn't really 100% sure. She couldn't tell. So, but yes, it's very hard especially with family members involved. Yes. Most addicts by now are from prescription drugs. Yeah, you're right. And what's up, Glenn? Not counting booze. And yeah, and booze is just as bad, if not worse in a sense. And I'm not saying if you have drinks you're a bad person. I'm saying if you are an alcoholic and are drinking heavy every single day, it's no different than what I was doing, popping prescription pills. Again, I never did anything like heroin or stuck needles in my arms or anything crazy like that. Like, that was just nuts. I was in total denial. I was never depressed. I just kept trying to push through, seeking help. I didn't realize how effed up I was, and I wasn't addicted to anything. Just didn't. Alright, well, I must have missed part of this, Austin. Pick ourselves up. I've been in therapy a year now. Okay, so for depression, okay, I missed that part of your comment. Yeah, so, depression is a real thing, right? Depression, I always say this, but I feel depression is a disease. I 100% feel like depression is a disease. And some people argue that. Some people say that they don't agree that it's a disease or what have you. But I honestly feel like depression is a disease. And depression, and it's so hard to judge, like it's so hard to gather or even know people who are depressed and aren't depressed. I mean, like, let's just, and I don't want to be somebody that just brings up like famous people or celebrities, but it's typically what you hear about. That's why it's the easiest way to use them as examples. But people like the singer for what was the band that did that song with Jay-Z, the band that did the song with Jay-Z, the dude that had depression and committed suicide, Dave Mira, right? These people who, in every day, you didn't see anything or any sign that they looked depressed or they looked like they had anything wrong with them. They probably had a smile on their face most of the time. You know, if they walked by or saw anybody, if they're with their wife or whatever, they probably showed that smile, right? But on the inside, they're hurting. They're feeling tough. They're bad, right? They want to do things themselves, or they're contemplating doing things themselves because of how bad things are, or they feel how bad things are. And Austin, shout out to you, brother, for actually going out and seeking therapy and seeing somebody about it. And always know that if you're ever in a tough spot, you ever feel like you just need somebody to talk to, you're super depressed, you feel worthless, whatever it might be, always know that you can reach out to me anytime. All right? And I'm sure that most people in here as well would feel the same way. Don't ever be afraid to ask for help. Don't, especially, I mean, Austin, especially now, you're in here with us. We kind of know what the thing is. It's not like it's somebody you don't know that doesn't know you're depressed. We know you're going through that, right? So I'm pretty sure anybody here would say, yeah, see, like, contemplated suicide, dude, that sucks. Yeah, like Robin Williams, dude. Robin Williams, a guy who was an actor who was in some of the greatest comedy movies of all time. He did comedy. He did movies to make people laugh, put smiles on their face, and make them happy. And he was in Misery. Like, it's crazy. Like, think about it. You would never think a guy like that would be feeling like he's in such misery. He's doing movies, he's putting smiles on people's faces in every movie just about he does. And then he's gone. Yeah, total disease. PTSD. Yeah, so like I said, man, anytime, brother, reach out. What's up, Uncle Stewie? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, Lincoln Park. That's who I was talking about. Yep, exactly. But yeah, man, anytime. And if you ever feel like that, dude, don't ever hesitate to reach out. I agree, depression is a disease. I've been dealing with it for the last few years now. Yeah, Shaqrat, man, it's just, again, we all have so much that we have to go through in our life. And that's, again, why, you know, we talk about things like this. Again, why I try and I continue to try to better myself in my angle that I take within the hobby. That I'm no longer going to ever be a negative guy in the hobby. I'm never, you know, I'm not going to let that stuff get to me. I'm going to just, if I see it, it's going to be just to the wayside. I'm not going to deal with it because we have way too much going on in our everyday lives. This is all supposed to be about fun, about hanging out, friendships, having a good time. Yeah, and Austin, I bet, dude. And I'm not saying, like, when I say reach out, I'm not saying you have to get into depth, but sometimes I think people just need to talk to somebody. And that's the one thing that I've also learned about myself, and that's why this stuff is so important for me, and this stuff works so well for me, going live and being able to talk to you guys and have an interaction, have an adult interaction that's not just business on a phone, is because we need to talk. We need to talk about things. We need to get things off our chest. I mean, I wish. I mean, you guys, look at, put it this way. Call it what you want to call it, but you guys are basically guys are basically like that woman in a sense that I should have in my life, that I should be able to talk about everything every day and whatever. But that's not the situation. So you you got me. I don't know. I don't know what angle that is. It's kind of funny, but it's true. It is what it is, man. So, button is effective. Absolutely. Yep. And that's all we need to say. Just move on. I'm sure you told me more than others. Son, I get out of your funk. Took 3 hours. Yeah, but again, Austin, I'm not, like I was trying to say before when I was trying to explain. You don't have to necessarily, if you reach out, it's just to reach out, just to talk. Because I think at the end of the day, I think when we're at that point, and this is for anyone, Chris, this is for someone struggling with addiction, whatever. I think when we're at a point or a bad point in our life, I think at the end of the day, we just need somebody to talk to. And maybe we don't need to necessarily talk about what's exactly going on or some of my deep past stuff that I don't want to share, but it's maybe just being able to have a conversation, to just talk about a little bit, maybe it's not really what's ultimately bothering me, but maybe it's what happened today, what situation got me to where, what situation today or yesterday got me to this point to where I'm thinking or I'm in such a funk. Because typically that's how it works. There's something else that leads to it. You know, when I go and visit and I meet with my counselor in treatment once a month, like an hour with me and him is just not enough time. I could sit and talk with that guy for 8 hours. And, I mean, the 1 hour I get with him does me absolutely wonders. I trust this guy 100%. I'll tell him anything and everything. And I know that he will listen to me, he will not judge me, and he will give me the best advice that he can and what he feels or how he feels. But the thing he always brings up is, like, when I have tough things happen in my life that are current things. So, when my uncle passed a while back, right? He asks his first thing, or his thing, when he says, "So what's going on? How are things going?" And I say, "Well, you know, my uncle was battling whatever, just passed, blah blah," and I start getting a little emotional, and then he starts diving in and starts asking me. I mean, I can tell. I know you're emotional. I know it's your family member. So how are you feeling right now? Like, he asked me certain things. He asked me right questions, but he's ultimately looking to see if he feels like my mentality from these certain situations or events that have occurred are any type of triggers to lead me back to relapse. He's looking out for my best interest, right? That's what he's supposed to do, right? He's my counselor. Yeah. He's at treatment, but that's ultimately, there's always triggers, right? A trigger that could just piss you off, something that ultimately will always piss you off is a trigger. Something that ultimately leads you to relapse if you're an addict is a trigger, right? So trying to work through the current events to not bring us back to the past events that were at the past of when we were using or doing what we ultimately don't want to be doing or shouldn't be doing. If you get that. Uncle Stewie, man, that's awesome of you. And like I said, I think everybody here would be open to Austin, you reaching out to them if you need to talk. And I think any of you guys Some days I couldn't get out of bed, I didn't eat, etc. I didn't want to be around. I'm slowly able to talk. Yeah, I mean, in Austin, that's what's awesome. And ultimately, dude, like, what makes me feel good about this stream right here, we're going to end it soon. BITG should probably be going live shortly. But we're going to end this soon. But what makes me feel good about this stream at the end of the day, there wasn't quite as many questions as I was hoping for, but that's all right. I didn't know what to take of it. We'll try to do one again some other time. There was good questions, but I thought there'd be maybe more questions. But ultimately, what I take away from this whole stream, and I always try to look at things I can take away from the stream each day. I always try to do certain topics where I hope that someone else takes away something, picks up something, learns something, whatever it is, right? And these are my opinions, my suggestions, etc. I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying they're right. Again, my channel, my opinions, etc. But I think the biggest thing I take away from this is being able to see people like Chris B say, this gives me hope, and that's a wonderful thing to have. Austin saying, you know, he's able to slowly start talking about things, about, you know, saying that he has depression. Like, those are big steps. And I don't know, like, for Austin, for you, around a group of people you hang out with who don't really know you, you know, besides it's Austin that comes in all the time, that hangs out with us. But for us to be able to know you a little bit better, a little bit more, and ultimately to know that, hey, you have depression, and that's all right, because a lot of people have depression. Nobody's perfect, and everybody has their own things going on in their life. But to be able to get to know you a little better, and ultimately to be able to see you be able to kind of state in comment, you know, hey, I have depression, I have this. And that takes a lot, man. What's going on, Holy Watts Cards? Good to see you, brother. We're going to end it here shortly because Back in the Game should be going live in about 8 minutes. But, man, we're just having a good little talk today. The Q&A, and they answer different questions about my addiction. That's what this was about. And we're just kind of talking about life and etc. But, Austin, that is a huge step. Because when you can, again, ultimately, guys, with anything you're going through, this is what I believe. If you can ultimately talk about it with people you feel comfortable with, you trust, whatever, you don't have to talk to or talk with about anybody, but if you can talk about it with a group of people, hobbyists, friends, whatever, you're that much closer to a better you, I feel. Chris B, again, brother, I mean, I don't know exactly what you're all going through, but reach out to me anytime. Chris B says, please do this again. Thank you for doing this. Absolutely, man. And we can really, any day, I'm live every day. So there's certain days where I want to talk about certain things if they come on my mind. But we'll have a lot of days where it's going to be like this. We'll absolutely do these like this. I agree. I think it's great. I made surgery by a day. Wow. That's crazy. Tom had a comment in here somewhere I missed because comments started flying through. I just want to read it because I think I missed him. 1 second, guys. When my great grandma died, I was very my mom, me basically was with me. Yeah, that's good, man. Panic attacks, anxiety, Tiger Eagles. That's awesome. What's up, sports car collector? Sorry I missed you. I start getting on a little rant and I check. Alright, addictions are tough. I was 395 pounds 4 years ago. Got down to 225 in 2 years, but still battle it. Depression almost ruined me. It's real. Cards help me. Man, that's awesome, Tom. Dude, kudos to you and the big journey. Again, guys, like, the hobby has been a huge step, a huge foundation of my recovery. And as Tom says, it's helped with him and his depression. I'm sure it's helped with Austin's depression. I'm sure it's helped with Chris B and what he's going through. We don't realize how awesome this hobby is. And we're just a group of 15, 18, 20, 25, 30, 40, depending upon the day, group of people that come together to stream, that interact. There's millions of us that are all just like each other that we can continue to expand and grow with. What's up, Four Leaf Cards? No, we appreciate you, brother. I appreciate it, Four Leafs. Thanks for popping in, man. Means a lot hanging out. Thank you. Do you think Luca will become a Hall of Famer? Possibly. The 3-card collector. He's got to stay healthy. I mean, he's got to be able to play, majority of seasons as he plays and have a decent long tenure in the NBA without a big injury. But I feel he would be a Hall of Famer, yes. But yeah, so the hobby, and so again, I talked about, and I'm going to wrap this up here. But we talked about, like, cards, right? And how value to me was a tacky word for cards. The value of a card to me is tacky. Ultimately, that's what I said, right? So, what I am going to say is, where the real value is in this hobby is not from these cards that have these pictures on them, but it's what these cards with these pictures on, how they bring us together. They build these card hobby, how they bring the community together, how we become friends, and how this type of stuff where value is tacky, the friendships and the support are ultimately where the value are. Chris, I don't know if I lost you guys. I'm going to leave you all with this. Cherish your friends and family. Never miss a chance to tell them you love them, and always know, no matter what you're going through, someone out there cares. Exactly, brother. And I care about all you guys. My stream is all of a sudden going hayward and buffering. I don't even know if you guys can hear me anymore. But Chris, that was an awesome comment. I'm going to end it at this, and I'm just going to tell each and every one of you guys that I love you guys, I care about you guys, and it's awesome that you guys hung out with me tonight, that you listened through this, that we got to get to know each other a little bit better, and we will continue to do these things. There's going to be plenty of opportunities. We're streaming every single day this year. We've done it so far from when we started, right? It wasn't the first day of the year, but we're gonna get through every single day this year. There's gonna be plenty of opportunities with this. So until next time, friends, fam, hobbyist, keep it real, keep it positive, keep it 100. I love you all. Peace and love.